It is Marathon Month. For one runner, Marathon Monday is also going to be a day to remember. Drudys Ledbetter is running her second marathon in honor of her brother, who lost his life to gun violence. Wolf Rubin died in 2019 after being shot outside of a bar in Georgia. He was not on duty at the time, but he did serve several years in law enforcement before his death. We are so lucky to have Drudys in studio with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I want to kind of talk about your choice of running as a way to process your grief. When did this start? How did this start? And how did it bring you to us today, sitting here?
Well, my running journey started in high school. I was on a track team at Latin school. And then I kept running in college just because my dorms were right outside of the reservoir over at Boston College. And then in December, after my brother was murdered, the world kind of shut down. So running became a way to kind of escape and just kind of process those feelings and try to find a way to return to myself. And it started to teach me essentially how to move through my emotions. I would have a lot of anger and anxiety and pain, and running just kind of moved me to clarity and to gratitude. Because I realized that I only had the pain because I really loved my brother. So then I was able to focus on the fact that I was able to love my brother and move into gratitude and essentially kind of move into peace. And I think that's kind of the trajectory of healing in itself.
What will it mean for you to cross that finish line on Marathon Monday?
Oh my gosh, this year is going to be pretty special. When you're training for a marathon, your life kind of changes. You're very isolated. You spend a lot of time alone and with your thoughts. So I always brought Reuben on the runs with me. I took him there everywhere I went. I would hear his laughter, his sayings. He was such a go-getter and he was very persistent. And sometimes on these runs, I'd be kind of angry just because his persistence is what led him to get his dream job that put him in a position to be a victim of murder. So I would have to kind of work through that and find the lesson in that, because he would always say, you know, there's a lesson in everything. So the lesson was to just persist. So crossing that finish line is evidence that I persisted.
Oh, I love that. You're raising $25,000 for the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. I want to make sure I got that correctly. Why was it so important for you to support this particular organization?
Where the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute is, I think, doing God's work. Their mission is centered around being a center of healing and teaching and learning for people like me who've been affected by murder and trauma and violence. And they really are creating a world where people are valued and we can live at peace. And I think that their work is really centered around like public health, really. I've been a nurse for over 20 years, and grief is very biological. So people who are going through this process have a lot of heavy emotions that they carry with them, and those emotions can lead to higher risk for hypertension and depression and substance abuse. And in our community, the Black and Brown community, this grief often comes without closure and without justice. So for me, it makes it like a health equity issue that we support this work, that we start to bridge the gap. And their work is so valued. They've been given to the community with their critical programming for over 30 years. I just felt like it was time for us to reciprocate and start serving the Institute the way it's been serving our communities.
That's incredible. Well, Drudys, we want to say we're so sorry for your loss. You're such a strong woman, and we wish you the absolute best of luck on Marathon Monday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Awesome.